And back. Okay, so really quick, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in again and allowing me to help you and help myself. And we can both get some little bit of learning while we kind of go through the markets together and analyze and take notes and do all of the fun things. So, with that, I will ask you, if you do enjoy what I do, that you like, share, and subscribe. Share with someone else that maybe you know that is trading and maybe needs a little bit of assistance or wants to grow rather than jumping into a pool of a crap ton of fish, so to speak. And you can jump in a pool of a smaller amount of fish and we can all do this together. So I just wanted to kind of show you what I'm doing right now, kind of catch you up, being that next week is going to start the segment of me doing, or this coming Sunday, I should say, is going to start the segment of me actually doing the forecast on Sundays, and then we'll do like an informational technique along those lines kind of video through the midweek on Wednesdays, which is where I'm recording this today. It's a little bit late, but I still wanted to make sure to get this or pump this video out for you today. So I just wanted to go over kind of levels and like the importance of levels, trading in levels, or using levels to your advantage when you're trading, because it's been super helpful for me, along with using the Hakanashi trend that I was talking about last week or Sunday for Sunday's last video. You can definitely go watch that. I have been using that relentlessly and it's been super helpful. So I was out of town. I got back on Monday. On Monday, as soon as I got in, I hopped back on the chart to see what it was. I didn't do any kind of analyzing. I did a lot of meditation. I did a lot of journaling while I was on vacation. It was my birthday vacation, but I still wanted to make sure to get that time in and do some of that necessary mind work in order to be better when I got back to the chart. We'll talk about the psychology and how that plays a part in your trading more so than anything later on down the road. It's like one of my top priorities. It's like my favorite thing. It's like crack. So let's talk about these levels real quick. So I got in on this trade on Monday. So after Monday, I got back. I jumped into my charts. I did some analyzing. I waited a little while to see what was going to happen, and sure enough, we got into a space where I was like, you know what, I think I'm ready. After I went ahead and waited for somewhat of a retest to come back down, I was like, this is perfect. So, and I want to say that I actually probably even got in a little bit lower, because this is the 4-hour, and this was the, let's see, I took this out on Monday evening, so it was actually a little bit longer than this, but with this, part of the reason I took this trade for a lot of reasons, right? I had a lot of confluences. The Hakanashi was one of them. Previous price action, which was, things that were happening back here, the things that had previously happened, I was going based off of that as well. I used that as confluence to get me in and be confident in my trade. Sorry, I cannot stand when it does that. Anyway, I used the past movement in order to get myself into this trade. And I also used, I think, a couple other things. I do use the RSI as well as the EMA. So these are all things that I used in order to get myself into this current trade that I'm in now. And also with using the levels and using some of the major bank levels. Let me cross over to my other chart here. I knew, because I already have it marked up, I knew once it got past here, this being a major, all of my major bank levels, I will put a box from time to time, but for the most part, I will put a strong black line, so I remember that that is where the banks are at. That is where the banks trade at. That is a very strong area where you can either see resistance or support. So I made a mark, or had a mark here from, I think, way previously. I try to keep my major levels on my charts. Even though I don't like a messy chart, I try to keep it kind of naked. But through the process of it moving and it got past here and it was able to sustain and stay up here, use this as support, I was like, oh, okay, it's not going to come back down here. Could it peek down or could it poke down or pierce, whatever is however you would like to put it, of course. And I was prepared for that. I left a little extra room just in case that were to happen, just in that level. Because I had I was, when looking at kind of previous price didn't really get too far past here. So I was like, if I leave myself a little bit of room, even a little bit of room after, I could still manage to get a little room just in case it decides to come down and pierce. Luckily, we're doing really well. It started to move up. As it had started to move up, I slowly moved up my stop loss just in case, so I wasn't at as much of a risk. I did manage my risk. I'm not going to lie to you. I did manage my risk, but it was a little higher than I'm technically supposed to go. But see, the only reason why I did that, I'll tell you, is because in the past I have tried to put my stop loss too tight, and I'm like squeezing that bitch all the way up to here, like, nope. And then sure enough, it goes down, stops me out, and heads right back up. Like, had I put that joint right here, it would have stopped me out. I would have been out of the trade, and then I wouldn't have been able to capitalize on the rest of the pips for that particular or this particular trade. So EJ was one of the ones that I had my eye on Monday, when I went ahead to look at my charts. Another one, let's see, was NAS USD, but I didn't really make too much of a move on this one. And that was only because when you kind of shrink up the chart a little bit, this one previously, which was when was this last? This was on July the 14th. I don't really trade on charts where it's only wicked past a certain level. Now, if this was full candle or mostly candle, maybe I would have gotten into this trade, but because it was mostly just wicks, sometimes that is news based, whether it is super crazy long wicks or very, very, very large body candles. Sometimes that can be news related, and when it sometimes is news related, I haven't really seen a trend in my trading career as of yet that is strong enough for me to take the trade. So I didn't do anything on NAS. Let's see, I think I marked a couple of these up over like the last day or so. One other thing, besides the levels that I wanted to talk to you about today also, is don't settle for just one. Make sure, so like I'm in on this one, but I was still, and I am still searching around to see what my other options are. I was gonna say kind of like dating, but what you want to do is don't just get so hung up on just this one. Keep your eye out for other opportunities and possibilities of you being able to capitalize on different pairs. I accidentally chose the wrong pair earlier, and it like took $1 or something like that, something silly like that from me. But it never hurts to peek around and see what some of your other options are. So keep that in mind as well. I will be back to you guys with another video on Sunday. That'll be the forecast. So then what will end up happening is we'll just do our forecast videos on Sundays, and then we'll do the informational videos on Wednesdays, and I'll make sure to pump those Wednesday videos out to you a lot earlier. I'll be more prepared come in the next coming weeks, and hopefully we'll all get some learning from both. I know I get some learning from being able to tell you. Hopefully you're getting some learning from me telling you. And again, if you have anything that there's something you want me to go over, something you want me to test out, I'd be more than happy to do that for you. But for the most part, I did want to go over what has been working for me. And again, the Hakanashi has been working, levels has been working, trend lines work for me as well. But these are just some of the things that work for me, especially price action. I'm definitely a technical trader kind of girl. I definitely like to look back to see what's previously happened. News does always play a part. I don't always trade it, but it's always helpful. Hopeful that this was helpful. Have a great rest of your evening.